They do not say that this turkey has been injected with butter or anything, so I'm going to put a little salt on it. And that will salt actually the drippings as well as the skin. Now they did put a fair amount of salt in their gravy, but not in the turkey itself apparently. And I'm going to load it up with some onions on the inside here. Yeah. And we're going to add about a handful of celery. I usually put about 3 stalks in, but this is a small bird, so it's not going to take that much. I think that'll give it a nice savory flavor. Okay. And we're going to add water to the bottom of the pan so it'll have some moisture to cook in. This will also help generate the stock that we'll need to make the dressing. So now, just cover and put it in the oven, and we'll check on it in about 3 hours, which will be about 8 o'clock this evening. We have our thawed deer meat in the frying pan, and we're just going to granulate it and add a little salt. And I'm not so sure that we'll use actually all of this, but what I don't use, I'll just freeze. And then it will be perfectly good for the next time I cook anything I want to add a little deer to. Salt. And the other stove eyes over in the corner, potatoes for the potato salad are doing, and then I have the giblets boiling and cooking in this pot for the giblet gravy. And in the meantime, the turkey is cooking quite happily in the oven. So all's doing well. The deer is done now, and I've turned off the eye. So there's enough residual heat in this cast iron pan to drive off any remaining moisture. I don't want to cook it hard, so I'm going to go ahead and take it up in another. Now we're going to make the hoecake, which is another component of the cornbread dressing. And for this, I got a little can of Crisco. Now, time was back in the 50s, my mother used to buy this by the gallon pail, and then reduced it to about a quart size. And now, this little bit here will last me almost a whole year. So our use of this sort of stuff has been gradually reduced over the decades. So this just gets mixed in as well as some moisture here. which we're going to provide a little skimmed milk. And finally, we'll make us up a dough, which will go in the frying pan. And make our hoe cake, which can be thought of as one big flat biscuit. You work it more than you would biscuit so that it doesn't rise as much, although this particular flour is not a biscuit flour per se, and it doesn't want to rise much at all anyway. Need a little more of everything. Now you may know of somewhat better than to do this by hand, but I don't. Okay. About half of this is what I need, I think. Maybe a little bit more. Okay. Now that we have a mass like this, we're actually going to press it out in the frying pan. Now that we have it pressed out in the frying pan, we're going to put it in the oven and let it cook. Now you could equally well do this on the top of the stove. As a matter of fact, that's how the hoe cake was traditionally done. It was cooked on a stove eye. Well, actually over hot. In the meantime, with the extra dough, I'll just make me up some biscuit. We have our Irish potatoes up now. You can see I have them chopped. They're fairly coarse, but they're still somewhat resilient, which is exactly how you want them. So, I'm going to add our dill weed here. Very precise measurement, as you see. And that empties that one. We're going to add our deer meat. This is Dill Deer Potato Salad. And that is about all we'll need of that. So, as you see, we have some left over. Now, our sweet pickle relish here. That should be about right. Mayonnaise. One, two, three. That should be about enough for this. I don't like potato salad when it's soupy with mayonnaise. If anything, I'd rather have a little more vinegar in it. Okay, before I mix though, I boiled some eggs, and I'm going to chop up and put 3 boiled eggs in this. We've added the eggs, as you see, and now we have some onions. And some celery. And we proceed to mix. And here we have the results of our day's cooking. We have 1 turkey, which looks very nice and is certainly done. And this little sticker here is poking out about 3/4 of an inch, so that's good. We have the hoe cake and some biscuit in the background. And our recipe made a very nice, flaky, well-cooked biscuit and hoe cake. So that did well. And we also have our Dill Deer Potato Salad on here, which also did nicely. And that's about, 2/3 of it. But enough certainly for a meal, and then some. So, our day's activities were certainly a success. We have cleanup to do and ready. Next, we'll actually make some dressing and giblet gravy, but that's going to have to wait till actually we serve the meal. I just don't have the... This is Hovey Smith, the Backyard Sportsman, and it is Christmas time, and it is presently 3 days before Christmas. And I have my turkey out to thaw, as you see here. And I'm starting my preparation for my Christmas meal. Now what we're attempting to do is cook as much ahead of time as possible. Now the menu that I'm going to be doing is going to include turkey and dressing, a southern cornbread dressing recipe, and a sweet potato souffle, and rice, and the dressing that goes along with the turkey, as well as a sweet potato pie. So these are the dishes I'm going to be making. What I'm doing now is as much in the way of preparation as possible. I'm going to cut up